What's good? It's your boy Jay, that's me. Let's get into TNA Impact from November the 14th, 2024. An okay episode of TNA. It could have been better, but it is what it is. Typically, after Bound for Glory, TNA basically just phones it in, and it seems like that's what they're going to do. It's not good. I hate when TNA does that. Hopefully, next year in 2025, they'll do more live shows. I mean, they should be able to, but it is what it is. So, we have one note, and that is Speedball Mike Bailey is no longer with TNA. So the angle that they did last week with Trent Seven turning heel and beating the shit out of Mike Bailey, he's no longer with TNA, and he's been taken off of the TNA website, and for whatever reason, he's on some TNA posters and stuff. And so, Tony Khan has now purchased the services of one Mike Bailey. So Mike Bailey is going to be heading to AEW. Do I care? No, I really don't. Mike Bailey was okay in TNA. I think TNA treated him well, as making him an X Division champion, two-time X Division champion, basically. And he was in TNA for 3 years, which makes perfect sense. He was pushed heavily by Scott D'Amore, and it's fine. Is Mike Bailey going to make an impact in AEW? The answer is no. He's not going to. Why would he? He's just another version of Ricochet. He's not going to do anything in AEW. I could see him being used on Collision and doing stuff on Rampage, and that's it. And then on occasion, like every blue moon, bring him up on Dynamite. That's it. Do I see him doing anything in AEW? No. He's just going to be a mid-carder, just like he was in TNA. So now that Mike Bailey is gone, this opens up a chance for maybe TNA to bring in Baron Corbin, who was released from WWE a couple weeks ago. So maybe we'll see him at one of the tapings. Maybe we'll see him at Turning Point in later this month, or we could see him at Final Resolution, or he might just be saved for Genesis in January of 2025. So we'll have to wait and see. But it is what it is. So we kicked the show off with the first match of the night. Mike Santana, he defeats Casey Navarro of First Class. So this is fine. He wins via hit the block. Makes sense. Moving on. So Gia Miller, she's backstage with the Nemeth brothers, that being Ryan and Nic Nemeth. So Nic Nemeth, he requested his match tonight against Brian Myers. He wanted it to be a title match, but Santino Marella declined, which was great. So Nic Nemeth wants to be a fighting champion, and he respects Brian Myers. He knows the system will be lurking and trying to get involved. He'll be doing what he does best, stealing the show. Alright, that's fine, I guess. Who gives a damn? Fuck Brian Myers. Moving on. So Ryan Nemeth said that he'll have Nic Nemeth's back after he takes care of Joe Hendry. Ryan says that Joe Hendry's video about him is ruining his life. Nic Nemeth says that he knows Ryan will do great. No. Ryan Nemeth sucks. He sucks. Moving on. So Ace Austin, he's finally back, which is great. Along with the Hardyz, they're back. She says that there's going to be in a 6-man tag at Turning Point. So Trent Seven, he shows up. He gets in their faces along with Jake Something and Hammerstone. So they enter the fray, And then all three of them beat the shit out of the Hardyz and Ace Austin. So this is great. That makes sense. I love this. This is good. Moving on, the Rascalz, the homies, they defeated Alan Angels and Jake Crist. Nice. Good stuff. Love the Rascalz. Moving on. So, Spitfire, they're back. They're in the back. They talk about being one-on-one against Ash and Heather by Elegance. Jody Threat talks about taking on Ash by Elegance and how she'll make sure her life in plastic isn't fantastic. Do I care about this shit? No, I really don't. I don't. Moving on. We get a TNA Genesis hype video to hype up Genesis in January. I really do hope that TNA does bring in some more talent. They need to. Hopefully they can bring in Mandy Rose and Lacey Evans or Macy Evans, as well as Baron Corbin and maybe Tegan Knox. Well, no, she'll probably just go on the indies. But I could definitely see them bringing in Baron Corbin. So we'll see where it goes. Josh Alexander and the Northern Armory, they defeat Jonathan Gresham, Eric Young, and Steve Maclin. I don't give a damn about this. I don't care about Steve Maclin. I don't care about Josh Alexander. I just don't. The only one I care about in this match is Jonathan Gresham. Everyone else, I don't give a shit about. I just don't. TNA needs to bring us some new talent. Moving on. So, the Hardy Boys and Ace Austin, they'll take on Trent Seven and Jake Something and Hammerstone next week. Okay, that's cool. So, am I excited? Sort of, kind of, yes. Because I do like the Hardys, obviously. I definitely like Hammerstone, and I definitely like Jake Something. So, yeah. And Ace Austin's pretty cool. Trent Seven, not so much. Fuck him. Moving on. So, Frankie Kazarian, he's in the back. His lame ass. He's not happy about TNA airing last week's archive footage that showed him being glowed by Rhino. It doesn't matter. So, Frankie Kazarian, he has the Call Your Shot Gauntlet Trophy, which he beat Rhino for. So Rhino comes in and he says he didn't need a trophy to beat Kazarian's ass. And then Frankie Kazarian was like, such language. Who cares about this? Like, can TNA please just get rid of these also-rans that they have? Like Frankie Kazarian and Moose, Brian Myers, Eddie Edwards, Alicia Edwards, and so on and so forth. Like, this is the problem with TNA. They have to let go of the past. These guys are not over. They're not over. No one cares about Rhino. No one cares about Steve Maclin. No one cares about Frankie Kazarian. No one. Moving on. So, speaking of Steve Maclin, he's backstage. He runs into Santino Marella. He tells Santino that he has issues with Josh Alexander. That his issues with Josh Alexander aren't over. So Steve Maclin then runs into Eric Young, Jonathan Gresham. Jonathan Gresham says he didn't want to be involved, and Eric Young talks about the issues that they had in the match earlier and tells Steve Maclin to figure things out. I don't care about any of this. Who cares? This is whack. This is absolutely 10,000% lame. Again, this is the problem with TNA. They continue to rely on the same mediocre talent that they have had for years. I mean, again, we need some new blood in TNA. We really, really do. And TNA has lost a lot of guys and girls this year. They've lost, Deonna Purrazzo. They're going to lose Jordan Grace. They're in the process of losing Joe Hendry. He probably will be done with TNA early next year. So either at Genesis or maybe at Rebellion. Either way, he's gone. I don't know what to say. I just don't know what to say. I mean, I want TNA to be successful, and they will. It's just they have got to drop so much talent that's dead weight. It's not even funny. I don't know. I do not know. Moving on. So Hendry, he comes out next. He gets on the mic. He says that he knows that Ryan was upset. Is upset due to last week's Ryan Nemeth video. Story video. So Hendry has the director's cut of all of Ryan Nemeth's career and achievements this week. So we see it again, and it's the same video as last week. And they want to see it for the second time, and the crowd loves it. This was great. I love this. This was great. So Hendry ends up defeating Ryan Nemeth via the standing ovation. It is what it is. I'm a fan of Hendry. I hope that TNA does decide to use Hendry before he leaves TNA. I would love for him to be world champion at Genesis. So we'll have to wait and see. But he really should have won at Bound for Glory. Then that would have been a perfect time for him to win. That would have given TNA some much needed momentum. But such is life. Such is life. Moving on. Rosemary, she defeats Jada Stone. So I guess she probably has been on Explosion. I don't watch Explosion. It's just another version of NXT Level Up, when NXT used to do Level Up shows. So maybe that's where she came from, or maybe she came somewhere from the Indies. I don't fucking know. So it is what it is. Rosemary winning makes perfect sense, I guess. She wins via the as above, so below. Do I care about this? Nope, not at all. Moving right along. The lame-ass system, they're shown in a video. They celebrate themselves in the ring. They present themselves with rings. So, Alicia Edwards, she comes out. She gets on the mic. She says that the system is stronger than ever. The ring proves that they are united and dominate TNA. They talk the talk and walk the walk. Starting tonight with Brian Myers taking care of Nic Nemeth at Turning Point. Her husband, Eddie Edwards, will be taking the TNA World Championship back to the system. So then Alicia Edwards proceeds to then talk about Masha Slamovich. She said she carried Masha Slamovich during their time as a tag team, and last week was a fluke loss to Masha Slamovich and Jordan Grace. So Masha Slamovich comes out, and then she proceeds to challenge Alicia Edwards to a match next week in a no DQ match for the Knockout Championship. So Tasha Steelz comes out to show that she's going to be in Alicia's corner. So Jordan Grace then comes out. She says that she's looking forward to Masha Slamovich kicking Alicia's ass. She's got a rematch still coming her way, and therefore whoever wins the match next week will face her at Turning Point. Okay, that's fine. So I guess it seems like they're going to obviously push Jordan Grace to NXT quicker than I thought. I thought she wasn't going to go be in NXT until probably in January. But it is what it is. Obviously, she's not going to defeat Masha Slamovich. But I hope that we have some serious challengers for Masha Slamovich once Jordan Grace is done with TNA. I mentioned Xia Li, aka Li Ling Li. So I mentioned her, but outside of her, there's no one else. that's believable in that role. So I don't know, man, but TNA needs to bring in some knockouts that can, pop a rating and really build up the knockouts division to what it once was, because they've lost a lot. And them losing Deonna Purrazzo and Jordynne Grace, it's no joke. Masha's basically the last knockout standing, basically. It's just her. So, it is what it is. Moving on. So, Nic Nemeth, he's in the back checking on his brother. So, Nic Nemeth is about to come to the ring. So, Santino Marella tells him to get to the ring. So, Nic Nemeth, he runs into Frankie Kazarian. Frankie Kazarian says, "Sorry about your jobber, brother," which was funny. And then he says he hopes that Nick isn't too distracted during his match and wishes him luck. So Nic Nemeth defeats Brian Myers via the Danger Zone. And then post-match, the System, they come out to attack Nic Nemeth. Joe Hendry comes out, makes the save with a kendo stick. He beats the shit out of both Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards, which is great. And he almost hit Nic Nemeth, and then the two of them just stare each other down, and that is it. And then we actually officially close the show by Steve Maclin getting into his truck, and then he just drives off. And then it says to be continued, and that was it. So this is fine, I guess. Do I care about Steve Maclin? He's okay, but I'm just not really all that into him anymore like I used to be. TNA, they desperately need some new faces. I've said this for months. They have got to bring in guys and girls that can make TNA seem like a serious promotion. They need to bring in Baron Corbin. They need to try to bring in Velveteen Dream. They need to try to bring in Mandy Rose and Lacey Evans, Elias. I know people don't like that, but I mean, you have to bring in stars. You can't just keep bringing in people from the indies. You have to really bring people who've made their name in WWE and AEW. Hopefully, both WWE and AEW continue to release talent. And I'm not saying that TNA can't bring in talent from the indies, which they can, obviously, but they're looking to have a TV deal next year, and they've got to work towards that goal. And they need a serious, legit roster of people that are over and that people recognize. If you continue to bring in nobodies and just bring in and stick with these lame also-rans that you have now, you're going to be where AEW is now. I have an ice-cold product. So, I don't know. This episode of TNA was okay. It could have been a lot better. Nothing really happened. It was just there. And like I said before, usually TNA around this time of year, after Bound for Glory, they just drag their feet. They don't really care about Final Resolution or Turning Point. And those are their last two pay-per-views of the year, and they don't care about either or. So it is what it is. But what did you guys think of TNA? Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.